As a working mother, I simultaneously long for and dread Christmas. There's always so much to do and so little time. I'm Alex Polizzi, hotelier and businesswoman, and I'm inviting you into my own home as I look for ways to transform it for Christmas. Like all of us, I have my own traditions, but I'm no queen of craft. This year is my baby son's first Christmas, so I'm searching out quick, inspirational ways to create something extra special. I love it.
No, it's very restrained. I mean, come on.
I want a Christmas fix, so I'm asking for help from the people who set the gold standard for festive display.
Thank you.
From present wrapping...
It's not looking great, it's looking awful.
...to setting the table and lighting.
I bring you Christmas.
Inspired by their 5-star methods, I'm elevating my decor from standard to spectacular, and you can too. I'll share easy, surprisingly inexpensive styling tips.
Humble paperclip, the most useful decorating tool in my extensive armoury.
I'll discover that by shopping smartly and by using things you already own, it's possible to decorate your home to the most exacting standards without breaking the bank or your back. I'm preparing my home for my family and guests this Christmas. Never mind about the food and drink, for me it's all about setting the scene for gorgeous festivities. Which means luxurious embellishment from top to toe. I want the Christmas excitement to begin at the doorway, where I want to create a warm welcome for my guests. Inside, I'm also looking for a way to make my banisters festive. In the living room, a beautifully dressed tree is the bare minimum, but this year I'm hoping to sprinkle some decorative fairy dust over the rest of the room too. And as we sit down to Christmas lunch, I'd like to create a table that will do the turkey proud. First things first, the outside. Winter nights cry out for illumination and sparkle. I urgently need some inspiration for stylish lighting.
I absolutely love Christmas lights. They make me feel as if everything's right with the world.
I want to create this feeling at home, and I can't think of anyone better to inspire me than the people who turn our streets into a sparkling wonderland. But creating this gorgeousness is as much about practicality as prettiness. The team at James Glancy Designs worked through the night for weeks in the run-up to Christmas in order to scatter our streets with magic.
Yeah, down a bit. Yeah. Right, down your end. There. Gorgeous. Plug it in. Yay. Lovely boys, thank you very much.
This spectacular snow scene is one of 60 schemes they've installed this year. They're experts in the secrets of commercial lighting. I hope they can illuminate me about the domestic side.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go.
You know the old snowfall that we've got? What would be great if we can get the...
Paul Dart is creative director, responsible for all the company's designs.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
He lights the streets of Britain, and what he doesn't know about lighting isn't worth knowing.
Very nice to meet you, Paul.
And you
Thank
too.
you so much.
You too. Welcome to the madness of it all.
To the cornucopia of Christmas.
Ah, you could put it like that, yes.
This room, full of festive lights and objects past, present and future, is Paul's Ideas Laboratory.
I love this star here. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Well, that was just an idea of how you could make a star read as a star.
Is it like this all year round?
Oh, yes. Yes, no, this never changes. Christmas comes around every year. We start in January.
You start in January.
As soon as it starts to come down, we start talking about next year.
This place is packed with gorgeous things, which I hope will help me work out my plans at home.
So this is really more your sort of modernist idea of Christmas, using lots of colour, sort of, we call these Sue sticks, but actually they're just fluorescent tubes with colour around them. And then we've just made a ceiling of just moving discs of reflective material.
Makes me feel very Christmassy already.
Good, well, so it should.
It's lovely.
Street schemes like this are a magical part of modern Christmas. They're a relatively recent addition to the festive landscape, first appearing in Britain just 60 years ago. The excitement in 1954 when Regent Street's first festive lights were switched on was so great that the House of Lords tried to sue those responsible for causing chaos and obstruction. Fashions may have changed over the years, but the magic and glitz of city centre lights remain a crucial part of building anticipation for Christmas. I'm not planning on building any 12-foot snowflakes at home, but the problem I always have with lighting is how to fix it in place without covering my house in sticky tape. Up close and personal with one of Paul's full-sized designs, I'm going to be let in on a solution.
Here's Romy.
Romy, hi.
Hi.
Doing the hard work of translating my madness into reality.
Paul and Romy introduced me to their simple method of fastening anything to anything.
The magic of the cable tie.
This plastic strap is the fixing of choice that holds all these decorations together.
Let's get the end of your cable tie and put it through the wires of the lights. That's right, at the end.
Make sure you find the right bit of the cable tie to
Right,
put it there.
that's very important.
And then, how tight? As tighter?
Yeah, no, I think that will be just about fine.
Okay.
Lovely.
And then we bring on the cutters and snip.
And so you can snip right at the end. It's
Yes, because we don't want to see the cable tie.
No.
And you need to do another 3,500 of those very quickly.
Safe, cheap and disposable, I'm definitely adding these to my shopping list. But I want to pick Paul's brain for more ideas to add pizzazz to my home this Christmas. How do you start when you're planning something? What are you trying to create in the eyes of the viewer?
A moment of unadulterated joy. I want that moment when your mum switched on your first Christmas tree and you had that transporting moment, I can still feel it now, weirdly enough, it's joy.
So you do this all year round, think about Christmas.
Yeah.
What do you do at home?
I do an awful lot.
You could show me some pictures.
Well, this is the front room a few years ago,
Yes.
and that was white and white with lots of crystal and pearl and all those sorts of things.
That's over the top. I love it.
No, it's terribly.
In a
it's very
wonderful-
restrained. I mean, come on. I mean, surely everybody does this. People always forget the things that you should decorate. Always the mantelpiece,
Yeah.
always the mirror. Don't forget
Mantelpiece,
curtain
yeah.
rails.
Curtain rails,
Perfect. You know,
fine.
always remember front door,
Yes, of course.
balustrades,
Yes,
balconies,
fine.
entrances. The key for this is actually finding your fixings. You need somewhere to actually fix all these things. Christmas trees. Find the top of your cornice, put
Yes.
in a nail and wire your tree back to the wall so it can't fall forward.
I love that idea.
Because, obviously, when you're decorating it, you put all the decorations on the front. It becomes front heavy. It's likely to fall towards you. Other trick is get a piece of ply cut to the very top shape of your fireplace.
Yes.
And that means then you can hammer, screw, staple gun, go for gold.
I love that idea.
And then put something heavy on it to stop the whole lot falling forward. And lighting is key.
I know. My mother, who's an absolute purist,
Yes.
she only ever uses white lights, and so do I.
I think you're both right.
Oh, good. Thank you. Paul has been completely inspiring. There's so many ideas that I've got now. I'm going home fizzing. I'm having to rethink my whole lighting theme because since seeing Paul, I've realised that I've made a mistake all these years. I've never decorated a doorway, and it is, after all, the first thing my guests will see when they arrive at my house.
I've seen lots of natural-looking decorations around, so I'm having a go at constructing an illuminated branch to hang in my porch. I have some battery-operated lighting, and I'm going to cable tie it onto this rather fine twig. The better the twig, the better the end effect. Battery lights are the Christmas decorator's best friend. I don't have to run a cable through my letterbox or work out how to power them. You can buy sets with cable of almost any colour. I'm using black so it blends into the branch. So I am attaching the battery-operated light with some black cable ties, very secure. Paul's favourite cable ties, like everything I'm using here, are inexpensive and easy to source. You can get them all from DIY stores or stationers. Humble paperclip, the most useful decorating tool in my extensive armoury. Not really. I mean, this is the only thing I ever use. It's a quick and easy way to attach any Christmas decoration to anything. I'm adding a selection of sparkly decorations which will reflect the lights. I am far from the queen of craft. I'm absolutely useless at doing anything like this, but even I am capable of attaching a few battery-operated lights and some decorations to a bit of twig. This has taken only minutes to put together, and fixing it in position won't be hard either. I am going to attach this with an expanding shower curtain pole. I know, hardly glamorous, but highly effective. Like so. But this alone won't be enough for my doorway. This year, to really pull out the stops, I want to have a wreath as well. But if, like me, you haven't got time to make one from scratch, it's quicker and easier to customise an artificial one. Using pliers, cut short lengths of garden wire. Put a set of outdoor-rated battery lights on top of the wreath. Adjust until you're happy with how they look. Then wire into position, twisting and folding the ends so that there are no points sticking out. Turn the wreath over and fasten in a hook so you can hang it up. Then fix the battery packs in place. Make sure you can get to the switches so you can turn them on and off when it's on your door. Thread 10cm lengths of ribbon onto baubles which match your colour scheme. Tie on with a simple knot. Repeat the process with a set of reindeer bells which will jingle gently as you open your front door. Cut rosemary or other long-lasting greenery into 10 to 15cm lengths. And tuck the cut ends into your wreath, making sure the tips fan out in the same direction as the berries. The rosemary should stay fresh for the 12 days of Christmas, and next year you can reuse the wreath, updating it by changing the colour of the baubles. In the dark, my homespun efforts come to life, beaming out a welcome. I'd like to continue this Nordic-inspired red theme right through my home. Next up is my living room. I think any reception room needs a couple of beautiful focal points. The tree and a pile of lavish presents will be the main event, but this year I also want to give my mantelpiece a bit of decorative love. So, in my ongoing hunt for decorating inspiration, I'm heading to the high street to steal some of the secrets of festive display.
Dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the one.
Shop window displays are always so enticing at Christmas. They really are the art of decoration at its best. And they do what they're supposed to, which is persuade me to spend, spend, spend. And for me, the ultimate Christmas windows are at Fortnum & Mason, London's oldest department store. Their preparation is one of retail's most closely guarded secrets. Head of visual presentation Paul Symes and his team spend months planning and long nights installing them.
I'm just doing the final pieces now. It's just putting the icing on the cake, making sure that everything is straight, everything is clean, everything is perfect.
Lavish window displays like this have been parting customers from their Christmas cash since the 1800s. When the advent of expensive plate glass and street lighting meant that windows and streets were lit, making it safe for people to roam city streets at night. Window shopping was free for all. For the rich, it was an opportunity to size up the best Christmas presents. For the poor, it was an intriguing insight into how the other half lived. The 1950s consumer boom saw shop windows flooded with gifts, toys and technology, as big department stores vied for custom with the most extravagant windows. And that tradition continues today. These Christmas windows are a festive institution, and this year they are populated by cherubs and an enticing selection of cakes, crystal and silver. As well as a series of tableaux illustrating Christmas dreams. It's an explosion of festive decorative imagination, just what I need to give me ideas for my living room. Under cover of darkness, I've been granted a privileged glimpse behind the scenes.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Alex. Thank
Pleased
you
to meet
so
you.
much. It looks absolutely amazing in here.
The inside of the store hasn't been forgotten. Paul's team also decorates dozens of chandeliers and 50 Christmas trees. They seem to know their way around a bauble or two. I'm still deciding how to dress my tree, so I want to know how Paul decides on his colour scheme.
What colours did you use last year for interest? Can you remember?
We use a lot of gold and a lot of reds because it goes with the carpet.
Yes.
And we do tend to be more traditional. A couple of years ago we did burlesque, so we had
I remember
female
that.
mannequins with
I
feathers and we
remember
used
that.
pink. So we're not always reds, golds and greens.
You have to decorate for your, well, in your case, your client base,
Yeah.
and in my case, for the kind of family that I have around me at Christmas. Yes?
Yeah, very much so.
I'm not sure I want my tree to look this traditional, but I do want to understand how to achieve this lavish, richly decorated look. Kelsey and Faye are responsible for dressing the veritable forest in the store. Each Christmas tree is studded with more than 250 baubles, as well as swathes of lights and ribbon.
You two must be Paul's ribboners. Hi, good evening. How many do you do of these a night?
We've got 28 to do tonight. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I bet you've got a double espresso inside you. You're going to get sick of red and gold.
Yeah. I will, definitely.
When it comes to dressing a tree, these two certainly know what they're doing.
Do you have any specific advice for me about decorating a tree and how you get that kind of amazing impression of the richness of a tree?
It's about getting depth, isn't it, with the baubles?
Yeah, definitely.
It's about looking into the tree. A lot of people tend to put the baubles near the end, whereas you need to put the bigger ones and stuff in to get the depth.
Okay.
And also, it doesn't have to be baubles, it can be anything. You know, last year we used large acorns, really quite inexpensive, fill a big space.
Very
And then-
effective.
Yeah.
I think it's about adding different textures as well.
Yeah.
You know, you can make it a bit more interesting.
What are you doing this year at home? Have you decided? What did you do last year?
I did mercury silver and wood.
Oh. Do you two have kids?
Yes.
Do you let them help you decorate the tree?
Absolutely not.
Yes, I am not alone on this. I always feel a bit mean about it, so I'm glad I'm not alone.
You're not alone, you're not alone at all.
My Christmas is unthinkable without a tree heaving with baubles and lights. But this, like so many of our festive decorating traditions, is a Victorian innovation. In 1848, Queen Victoria, her family and their Christmas tree appeared on the front of the London Illustrated News. This German custom was quickly adopted by every self-respecting family. The fashionable Victorian tree was decorated with flags, wooden toys, candles, and sugared almonds. And every period since has stamped its own identity on the humble fir or spruce. Advances in mass manufacturing gave the Edwardians metallic baubles and sparkle. The first fake trees appeared in the 1930s when brush manufacturers decided to branch out. And cheap electricity in the petrochemical industry gave the 1960s the fairy light, the plastic bauble, and tons of tinsel. We also went crazy for craft. Today, we can take our pick from countless fashion trends. From neon to Nordic, traditional to trendy. We spend in excess of £2.6 billion each year on decorative baubles and bling.
The snow is snowing, the wind.
At home, I'm copying Paul's traditional colour scheme of red and gold, although I'm adding some glass and silver for a more modern look. But even choosing the tree is problematic.
It is part of our whole ritual, our family ritual at Christmas, is going and choosing a tree all together, arguing about what size it is, managing to get it home without my husband's great fear of scratching the car's paintwork, and then assembling it with muttered curses.
This year, I've chosen a rather bushy 8-foot fir.
This is a very soft tree. This is a fir rather than a spruce. And although it does shed, it's a lot softer. So I've got a baby crawling around the floor this year, and I want to make sure he doesn't poke his eyes out. This is a good way to do it.
I've already dressed it with lights, carefully winding them from the top to the base. I've even wound a set round the trunk in order to create sparkle right from the centre of the tree to its tips.
You need way more lights than you ever think is possible. There are over 2,000 bulbs on this tree, and you wouldn't believe it, would you? They disappear into the greenery.
Following the advice of Kelsey and Faye, I'm mixing up sizes and textures, pushing some baubles right into the middle of the tree. Once again, paper clips are the easiest and cheapest way to secure any decoration. And rather than splashing out on new ornaments, I'm just adding a few extras.
These red baubles are the only new decorations I've bought this year. I just bought a value pack from a supermarket, a lot of baubles for a very small amount of money. Everything else are decorations that I've collected over the years and that I bring out with enormous affection and remind me of all Christmases past.
Bulking out a few expensive decorations with cheap shatterproof baubles is the best way to add substance to your tree without spending a fortune. Because more is always more when it comes to my tree.
I don't think you can ever put too much on a tree, but if you did happen to do so, you could always take some off.
When I'm doing my tree, I have one in mind that I'm always trying to emulate.
My grandmother's Christmas tree in her house must have been at least, I would say, possibly 3 times the size of this one. It was enormous. I was also much smaller. So proportionately, it seemed amazing to me. And then the combination of that with, you know, the hundreds of presents underneath it, that is still my favourite Christmas memory.
I dress my tree by eye, filling gaps as I go, and no one is allowed to touch it except me.
My daughter yesterday said, I don't like the tree here, I like it in front of the window. And I said, well, that's something to look forward to then, darling. When you have a house all of your own, you can put a tree wherever you like, but this is my house and my tree. Hands off.
My family might not be allowed near the tree, but they all have a place on it.
A couple of years ago, I invested in all these ceramic hearts and I wrote all the names of the current family members on. There have been a few additions this year with marriages and births.
This will be my darling son's first Christmas.
Certainly for me, Christmas is all about family and it's a time to be grateful for everyone who's around you, and it's also time to remember the ones who've gone.
The tree's complete, but the rest of the living room looks bare. To elevate it to the decorative standards I've seen, I need to try something new.
I have always wanted to decorate my Christmas mantelpiece and never been quite sure how to do it, but thanks to Paul Dart, whose idea I've adapted, I'm giving it a go this year. I've got a piece of plywood and I've got some matte tinsel as filler, and I'm wiring in some rosemary, so it's going to smell delicious, and also the real live stuff will be at the front. I'm then going to hang some more baubles from it. It'll be clamped to the mantelpiece, like so. And all you'll get is a lovely Christmassy effect.
Attaching it is simple. A couple of G-clamps, bought at a DIY shop for a few pounds, do the trick. Using a batten like this means I don't have to damage my mantelpiece with sticky tape or screws. Once it's firmly in place, I push in rosemary to cover the tinsel and disguise the clamps. This will fragrance my home, and it looks rather pretty too. Tiny cup hooks hidden in the batten allow me to suspend some of my favourite decorations. You could use this method to hang stockings, but be careful to keep all decorations away from real fires. The mantelpiece itself needs light. This year I'm giving a nod to my Roman heritage with these homemade candle holders.
Buon Natale. Happy Christmas in Italian.
I've been collecting tins for ages to have a go at this. Making them is something quick and easy to do at home. Take some thoroughly clean tin cans. Print out the letters or patterns you want as a guide. Using a dry marker, copy them onto the tins. Wearing safety gloves to protect your hands, pierce holes in the tin every 5 mil or so with a bradawl. Follow the lines of your letter carefully. Exert gentle, even pressure to avoid distorting the tin. You can push back any dents in the tin with your thumb. When complete, wipe off the remaining dry marker. Add a candle. Use an electric version for safety. But if you prefer to use a real one, spoon in a centimetre of dry sand, which will stop the bottom of the tin heating up and marking your furniture. Add a spoonful of scented oil, a lit tea light, and these homemade decorations are complete. But there's one Christmas tradition I just can't get to grips with.
The only thing I'm a bit bar humbug about is Christmas cards. I don't know how to display them. I've thought of a million different ways and I hate all of them. They end up cluttering up my lovely clean mantelpiece and my house.
But it seems I'm in the minority. Sales of Christmas cards show no sign of slowing down. Last year we sent over 800 million of them. It's a love affair that began back in 1843 when public servant Henry Cole commissioned the very first Christmas card, featuring a rather boozy family scene. Looks like my kind of Christmas. Thanks to postal reform, Henry's card only cost a penny to post. But it was very much a luxury item, and the concept was slow to catch on. It took 20 years for pre-printed Christmas cards to appear on the market. And early examples featured flowers and greenery rather than snow and robins. But by the 1870s, the nation had well and truly caught the bug. And in 1881, the Postmaster General made the first appeal to post early for Christmas. Over the last 170 years, all kinds of weird and wonderful things have been captured on our cards. We celebrated the arrival of the motor car and Blériot's 1909 flight across the Channel, while the 1950s commemorated the appearance of the newfangled television. These trends and innovations have come and gone, but our firm old festive favourites show no signs of disappearing anytime soon. I'm willing to concede that I do find one use for some of my more attractive cards. Cutting them up to use as next year's gift tags is a great way to embellish any present.
My grandfather always said that the best presents came in the smallest packages, and so far he's been proved to be right for me. But even the meanest present can be 100% improved with some clever wrapping.
Santa baby, slip a sable under the tree for me.
I think I'm pretty good at wrapping, but I want my presents to look extra special this year, so I'm going to get trained up on the gold standard. I'm meeting the doyenne of wrapping, who's prepared gifts for everyone from royalty to rock stars. Harrods draft her in to make sure their gift wrapping looks immaculate. And today, Jane Means has agreed to let me in on the trade secrets of top-notch wrapping.
Good morning, Jane.
Good morning, Alex.
How are you?
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much for showing me how to do this, because I love Christmas and I'm obsessed with wrapping, and you are the queen.
You've come to the right place.
OK, where do we start?
Boxes.
Good.
Jane begins by sizing up and cutting her paper with mathematical precision.
If your scissors are really sharp, you should be able to just glide up the paper like that.
If your scissors are blunt, a few seconds spent cutting sandpaper will sharpen them up nicely.
The key of getting professional wrapping, certainly for boxes, is definitely double-sided
I've never
tape.
used double-sided tape.
I'm going to pop it at a very slight angle.
Top of Jane's present wrapping faux pas are visible tape and unsightly seams.
The main thing is get it really tight and get that seam right on the edge.
Well, it's not quite at the edge.
It's looking great.
These are quite big flaps. Would you fold them over?
Yeah, a great little tip is to bring the sort of flat part up here, right at the middle of that little V. It's easy to fold the paper back and then you've got a nice little line to work with. And I just fold it under. Hopefully what will happen
is then that's
is you get it perfectly matching.
Look how pretty that is. I'm the kind of person who usually wraps with a glass of wine in them, but actually it's probably a good idea to be stone cold sober when you're doing it at this level.
Once the ends are expertly folded and ready to stick down, Jane has a great way of using up remnants of her favourite paper to give her presents an inexpensive luxury twist.
Bring the sides up, stick them down.
Great ingenuity, but perhaps a sophistication too far for me.
It's looking great.
Well, for first go, I'm sure I'll improve.
Jane advises using plain coloured paper, which can be used for any occasion. But she never compromises on the quality of her ribbon and embellishments.
You make it look so easy.
I try.
OK. Now, something that we all dread is a bottle, and I know you've got one there for me.
Yep.
I wouldn't know where to start.
For awkward shapes like bottles, Jane uses a combination of tissue paper and cellophane, which gives flexibility and strength.
It's not just a case of let's just chuck it around the bottle and hope for the best.
Right.
It's a bit more formal than that. So I'm bringing the wrapping up like that. You're going to pull it up and actually bring it in to the bottle. And I'm grabbing onto the bottle so it doesn't move. But all the time you need to keep pulling it up so you get a bit of tension. you've gone quiet, you're worrying me.
How do you get the bottom bit in there? I can't work out how to do it at all. I can't seem to get it from the bottom bit.
You've got to be quite brutal, and the great thing is because you've got cellophane, you can really give it a good tug. It's looking great.
It's not looking great, it's looking awful. Testing, gosh. OK, I'm ready to fail at yet another hurdle. Never let it be said I'm afraid of making a fool of myself.
The tin. I don't know what we're wrapping today. Plums.
Delicious.
Snow is snowing.
For round shapes like this, Jane starts by creating a cylinder of tissue paper, this time without the cellophane.
All I'm going to do is just very casually fold one end in, a bit like you would at the side of the box, really. Swing the sides in and just sit it up. Key factor is you've always got to start with the bit underneath because you've got this slight overlap of wrapping, and try and get used to using your hands like a pair of pincers and just start grabbing the wrapping and pulling it into the middle. I always keep my nail always in the centre of the tin, and every pleat that I'm pulling will go sort of halfway over my nail, and then you keep absolutely central. And again, it's just getting the tension right. That's it. It's great.
More luck than judgment.
A little trim and a nifty bit of double-sided tape on the last pleat neatly completes the first side of our tin.
And then it's a case of whizzing it over and doing exactly the same with the other side.
So about how many presents can you wrap an hour?
The larger the item, the longer it will take. So I would say on average, I'm probably looking at 7 to 8 in an hour. That's all shapes, all sizes, mixture of everything.
And how many hours can you do that for?
Christmas time, I'm working up to sort of 18 hours a day.
I hope you have a break for lunch. Gosh, darling.
On the go.
OK, so that's not very untidy.
The great thing is that you can always cover any imperfections with a ribbon.
So you stick this on the bottom side?
On the bottom.
Fine.
And I tend to line it up with the sort of the finishing end so it covers that seam up, like that. Turn it around. And then we'll finish off with just a really simple bow.
Acceptable?
Marvellous. You're hired.
Good, things are getting
That's
better.
great.
Things are looking up. Thank you so much, Jane. That's really fun. What I've taken away from this is that I'm just going to add a lot more to my wrapping. I already love wrapping. I thought I was good at it, but I can be better. And this Christmas, I shall be.
Wrapping the perfect Christmas parcel is one thing, but I know that for my children, it's the gift inside that's all important.
Now then, what do you want for Christmas?
A new bike and a pencil sharpener and a new rule book.
Christmas without Santa is inconceivable for our children. But before Victorian times, the 25th of December was a working day like any other. And the concept of giving gifts at Christmas was a rarity rather than the norm. The first children to enjoy this luxury were lucky to get one handcrafted present, and their porcelain doll or tin soldier wouldn't have been wrapped. Fast forward 50 years and Pester Power was born, with the first adverts aimed squarely at children. These were followed by an avalanche of cheaper toys to feed these new baby-faced consumers. And the rest is history. The type of toys at the top of Santa's list may have evolved over the years, but the biggest change is quantity. The Victorian single gift has grown into dozens, and we now spend an average of £312 per child. Although it's not always the most expensive presents that make the biggest impression.
When I was a kid, stockings were always the highlight of the affair because it's so nice to get lots of little odds and sods that you really want. Anything with my name on it I particularly love. Pencils, pencil cases. I do exactly the same for my children now. I quite like wrapping presents for my children, but certainly everything that I was taught about wrapping goes completely out of the window.
I haven't got time to make my presents look as perfect as Jane means, and in any case, I'm not sure my children would appreciate the effort.
It is volume and it's small fiddly things, and I know that they're no sooner going to unwrap it than they're going to be on to the next thing, so I don't let it bother me too much.
But I have taken Jane's advice about paper on board. I've bought masses of gold wrapping paper. I'm accessorising with quality ribbon in a variety of bright colours.
I do like Jane's trick of adding little bells and stuff to it. I've got some candy canes and I've got some little tiny baubles. It's a nice addition.
But there's one object I'm wrapping where I'm going to follow Jane's advice to the letter. I'm determined to perfect my bottle wrapping technique.
There certainly is something in me that doesn't like to be beaten by anything, I would say. Certainly not by wrapping paper. I would not describe this as easy, but it's a life lesson.
And I'm pleased to report that this is one thing that does get easier with practice.
There we go. What do you think? It's not bad. It's better than a bottle bag, isn't it?
I'm really rather pleased with my tree and the pile of presents. What could be more tempting on Christmas morning? No Christmas is complete without Christmas dinner, and no decorating scheme is finished without a gorgeous table. We all want to amaze and delight our guests, and in my dining room, I'd like my table to have real wow factor. And who better to take inspiration from than some of the best party planners on the planet? Rob Hornsby and Sam Haslam create spectacular festive scenes and stunning table settings.
We need snow.
Today they're creating a magical winter wonderland for over 150 partygoers at the historic Royal Courts of Justice. Just one of 19 style-packed parties they'll be hosting this season. Rob and Sam's parties can cost hundreds of thousands of pounds, but I'm hoping to bottle some of their decorative imagination and transform my dining room on a more domestic budget.
Hi.
This is Bespoke Events London's HQ, packed with creative director Rob's most high-fashion, high-concept Christmas decorating trends.
This is where the magic happens.
I've never seen anything like that. I love it.
These amazing centerpieces will feature at many a five-star Christmas party this year. Rob takes his inspiration from the latest couture fashion collections.
So there seem to be two very distinct trends here. One is very, very bright, and one is very, very clean and white.
Yeah. You've got to cater to your white minimalists who love the snow and the sparkle. You've got to cater to your traditionalists, which love a little bit of colour and romance, blue pine, greenery, etc., etc., gold and red.
I'm a traditionalist and I love the weeping willow. And I love the gold and silver foliage. I've never seen gold and silver together like that. I really think it's beautiful.
I think that's kind of a new look this year. It was more natural.
That's stunning. And I can't say that I would necessarily go to quite this extent at home, but I do want to make sure that I just don't pull out the same old schlock and I give it a really definite theme this year.
I'll keep you warm in December.
I'm hoping I can copy some of Rob and Sam's ideas for my Christmas table.
Great. So this is one of the setups we have for a client.
They're letting me in on the secrets of creating a high-impact look.
As you can see, the large centerpiece is ready to go.
Beautiful.
Rob's creation here.
Rob's stunning centerpiece chimes with the natural Nordic style I'm going for at home.
I like it because you can still see round it. I always worry when you have stuff in the middle of the table
You can't
that
see
your
Auntie Joan.
Yeah, it'll be awful.
Awful.
The theme of the centrepiece informs the other elements Rob and Sam bring to the table. Their attention to detail stretches to special bubble-edged glass plates.
I will do the thumb test now.
So what is the thumb test?
Just make sure that everything
I
is
see.
done as it should
and
be.
one thumb apart.
While Rob arranges a pile of artificial snow around his centrepiece, Sam and I start to lay up the table. But I'm beginning to wonder how doable this is at home. Where's the turkey going to go?
How practical do you have to be, or do you not care?
Well, I think events in general, they're quite sort of whimsical. How many tables do you have a snowdrift in? So it's quite nice to have the occasional knife in the snowdrift.
In the snowdrift. Yeah, practicality goes out the window with me. He pulls me back on the practicality.
They've dodged the question, but I suppose I can always carve my turkey in the kitchen.
Is this going your way?
Very much my way, right up my Strasser. It does start looking very pretty.
Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, snow's glistening.
You just flick that button at the bottom there.
The intricate layering of Rob's vision continues right up to the final health and safety approved touch of romance. Battery-operated nightlights placed into snow-filled baubles.
Singing a song as we go along, walking in a winter wonderland.
I love this table because it's kind of witty. I like the one red and the one red. The natural wood and then the bark napkins. It is quite nice to challenge the parameters a bit. We all get a little bit stuck in our ways.
Totally. Well, it is very over the top for sure, but people can take elements of it and shrink it down to their own personal choice.
I want to move the goalposts. I want it to be bigger, better, more this year.
OK, great.
Cool.
So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I know I keep saying this, but to meet people who have such high standards in luxury and exceptional taste are really inspiring me to pick up my game this Christmas.
So, my table has to be faultless. I want to translate Rob and Sam's vision into something more practical and domestic. And this means starting with a good base, a folded cloth fixed down with waiter's clamps.
If you don't have a base to your tablecloth tends to move, and the last thing you want is a drunken guest accidentally tugging on a bit of tablecloth and all your precious ware tumbling to the floor.
Next up is the tablecloth. I never use anything but white. It reflects light onto your guests' faces and provides the most flattering backdrop for your food.
I really do like things absolutely crease-free, so I'm going to now get a damp cloth and a hot iron and just get rid of the last few creases.
Call me obsessive, but I do like everything to be just so.
If you're going to make the effort to decorate your table, you might as well make sure it's correct in every detail.
And there are no excuses for dirty or smudged cutlery and glassware. I've picked up a few secret tips for quick cleaning from my hotel background. First up, a no-nonsense way to remove tarnish from silver.
Line a bowl with silver paper, aluminium foil. This is a trick my grandmother showed me, actually, and it works really well. Then you put a dessert spoon of salt into the bowl. And then some hot water. Pop your cutlery in and wait for the magic to work.
This polishes up solid silver and silver plate.
I have no idea about the chemical reasons that this works. It just does. That's enough for me. Et voila. Look at the difference between these two spoons. And it took seconds.
For stainless steel, dip a cloth in olive oil and wipe over your cutlery.
Dishwashers seem to leave quite a lot of residue on stainless steel, and this is a way to make sure it always looks lovely.
The oil removes streaks, and a final wipe with vinegar will polish it up.
Last but not least, the glassware. Again, continual washing in a dishwasher tends to leave those horrible streaky marks that are incredibly hard to get rid of. No longer. Bicarbonate of soda, a little bit of water. Get rid of even the most stubborn stains.
Make a thick paste, wipe it on and use it to scour away the smears.
It's a bit fiddly, but it really does work. It's worth it for special occasions like Christmas. Look how lovely and clean that is. That's a glass to be proud of on one's table.
But you can never have enough glitz, so I'm using silver-plated chargers on my table.
These will give a bit of extra sparkle to my guests' faces. And also, I don't know, it looks special, doesn't it?
Rob and Sam's attention to detail has inspired me to make sure that everything I put onto the table ties into my glitzy theme. I use everything on this table year-round. I haven't bought anything especially for Christmas. I don't see the point of having plates that you can only use one day out of 365. But to elevate this table to a truly festive level, as Rob and Sam showed me, it's all about a centrepiece.
Their versions were rather too over the top for family Christmas at home. So I've done my version.
I'm using a garden urn, which goes on top of one of my charger plates. I start by dressing the base with some moss.
This is reindeer moss. It comes dried, and I bought it from Covent Garden Flower Market, but you can get it from any florist. This is about as tough as I would make it for myself. I am not a make-doer. I can't sew. I can only just about cook. But I do like things looking pretty.
I've scaled back Rob and Sam's tree to a more manageable branch cut from the garden.
You could spray it white, but I chose not to. I quite like it au naturel.
I prop the twig in place with some gravel.
Do not make the mistake of putting the gravel in first and then trying to dig this in, because it is impossible and it won't be very well supported.
And don't use soil or sand, unless you fancy your centrepiece toppling onto your guests.
Then I'll finish off with a little bit of moss in the top. Aha, perfect.
Before adding the final decorations, I put the centrepiece in position.
All I have to do is hang a few more baubles and a few more night lights, and I'll be done.
More red here connects my table with the decorations I've used elsewhere in the house. Suspended tea lights add sparkle, and the tiny baubles will bounce the light around.
I'm really happy with this. It's an easy way to add a wow to your table. And it's been so quick to do, I'm amazed.
A second centrepiece balances things out beautifully. I think I've captured all the drama of Rob and Sam's Winter Wonderland centrepiece while taming it into something that sits comfortably in my dining room.
I still need to get all the places completely perfect. However, it's starting to look lovely.
And I want dinner to go with a real bang. I love crackers. The more colourful and bling, the better. So here's an idea for customising shop-bought sets. Buy a cheap but attractive set of crackers. The quality of the gifts inside isn't important, so don't splash out. Alternatively, you can buy empty ones. Gently open up one end, being careful not to rip the outside. Tip out the hat, gift and joke. Fold and insert a new hat, which might actually make it through Christmas dinner, and add a suitable small gift. For children, put in their favourite sweets or a small toy. For adults, add a tiny bottle of something warming and festive, or a small sample bottle of perfume. Slipping in a lottery ticket will give my guests a slim but exciting chance of a Christmas windfall. To make sure that the right gifts go to the right guests, add a name tag and thread onto a length of ribbon, along with a decoration which they can take away and add to their own trees. Closing both ends of the cracker with a bow tied from contrasting ribbon will make your finished crackers look even more luxurious. In one neat package, you're giving your guests a place marker, an extra Christmas treat, as well as the fun of pulling the crackers. My pimped-up crackers are the final flourish to my beautiful table. For me, every Christmas is special. But in my quest to make this year's the best yet, I've been lucky enough to rub shoulders with some of the finest in the festive business. I've collected brilliant ideas and practical shortcuts from the people who bring magic and sparkle to our streets.
Fabulous.
I've gathered insider knowledge on how to decorate a Christmas tree to die for from a team who trim a shop load each season. And when it comes to turkey and all the trimmings, I've been challenged to throw practicalities out of the window and go for glamour by some of the most innovative party planners in the business. My preparations at home are almost complete. Nothing's cost a lot of time or money, but I think it will deliver a big impact.
I'm really excited about having put that extra effort into decorating the house. I think it looks fabulous. And it really does set the scene. I want to put carols on immediately and have them playing ceaselessly over the next few days.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful.
My home is ready for its most gorgeous Christmas yet.
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
My family and guests will be wowed by colour and sparkle inside and outside. It's just as lavish as I had hoped. The doorway lighting scheme will greet visitors with a warm, twinkling welcome. My wreath, traditional but with a modern twist, gives a shot of colour and scent. And as we move through the hallway, more rosemary and baubles wind their way up the banisters. In the living room, all eyes will be drawn to my luxurious tree, which sits in pride of place with a mound of glittering presents beneath.
When we finally kiss goodnight.
And when it's time for us to sit down to Christmas dinner, my table may well outshine the turkey. I'm particularly proud of my beautiful centerpieces. The stage is set for a wonderful family Christmas. So for once, I can relax and enjoy it all looking exquisite.
What else is there for me to do but a glass of Prosecco?